we are going to start again the new series which is related to Renaissance. As earlier we were started it, so today we will continue it with 13th century. Okay, so as we know, Renaissance is very great period of the English literary period, or we can say it is a golden era of English period. So here we will know about the main thing which what happened in that time and which Saibak has done. So here we will start with a new series and new question. As we know, it was started during mid 13th century. So it was started from mid 13th century to 1600 century, or we can say BC. Now historically it followed the medieval period, so led to the modern period. So it is from medieval to modern period era, and we can see so many new thing, like we can see here different type of writers, the new way path for culture, the increment, the we can say exploration of culture activity, or we can say the great thing happened in the field of invention, the new way discovery. So many things we will read under this era. So yeah, first we will see that Renaissance began in Italy. Initially, it is a Greek word. If we talk about Renaissance, Renaissance is a Greek word which means rebirth. Okay, or it was began in Italy, or we can say birth in Italy, born in Italy during mid 13th century. That is spread north to the rest of the Europe. So earlier it was in Italy only, but after some time it is also started spreading toward the northern area of Europe, and it reached its height in the 15th century. Okay, and it began in Italy because Italy was a center of the ancient Roman history, architectural remain, antique status, coins, inscriptions were all visible reminder to Italian of the glory that was the Rome. So as we know, it began in Italy because Italy was the center of ancient Roman history. क्योंकि कहीं ना कहीं इटली जो था वो रोमन हिस्ट्री का एक कहीं ना कहीं गढ़ था. That was the center, and there are so many things we can see, like architectural remains, so many artifacts we can see here, antiques we can see here, coins and inscription of previous year we can show here. So and that is also representing the glory of Rome. So that's why Italy is the only place. Like in India, if we talk about the Harappa civilization, the Harappa civilization is the main, we can say, center of the civilization of India. Okay, so Italy also different from the rest of the Europe, and its city has survived in Middle Ages. So the cities had survived the Middle Ages. In the north, cities like Florence, Milan, and Venice. So these are the main city of Italy, and Genova grew into prosperous center of trade and manufacturing. So these are the main centers. Rome in the central Italy and Naples in the south also contributed to the Renaissance cultural revival. So Rome in the central Italy, Rome, and Naples in the south. So Rome is Italy, and at the south is the Naples are the cities which are the main responsible city to contributing the Renaissance in the cultural revival. Now, finally, a wealthy and powerful merchant class in this city state further promoted the cultural rebirth. Okay, and these merchants exerted both political and economic leadership, and their attitude and interests helped to shape the Italian Renaissance. They stress education and individual achievement. They also spend lavishly to support the art. So these are the things happen in that era. Okay, so the merchant played great role to rebirth or revival during the Renaissance because they exerted both political and economic leadership. Their attitude and interest helped to shape the Italian Renaissance. Because as we know that the merchant always have so much money, so every time they are helping. Okay, and they state education. They also state education and individual achievement. They also spend lavishly to support the art. Okay, so these are the main thing. Now, during the Renaissance period, there was a renewed interest in classical learning, especially the culture of ancient Rome. And this was a time of rebirth after the disorder and disunity of the Middle Ages. Now here we will talk about some element of the Middle Ages remained. However, after the Middle Ages had preserved much of the classical heritage, Latin had survived as a language of the church. So which language, like in India, Sanskrit we are using, but in that area in Italy, the Latin language is the main language, and they are only occupied in church and the educated people. Means now this time, as we know, in different category of the pupil, high classes, they are using English. So in that time, Latin was very popular, and the main language of church is Latin, and the pupil of educated pupil, the educated, well-educated people also using Latin in that time. Mathematics of Euclid, the astronomy of Ptolemy, and the work of the Aristotle were well preserved as well and carried into the Renaissance. So these are the example. Okay. Now here we will see the next thing. Politically, medieval Europe was dominated by the feudal hierarchy. So in that time, feudalism was uprising in different area, and that is the only place. And this means that the peasant were subjected to a landowner. So the peasants are totally depend on the landowner for the money, for the cultivation, and who is in turn would be subjected to higher lords, so on, or all the way of the king. So they are also representing themselves as a king on the peasant. So in the field of the learning, the Catholic Church was dominant. So in that time, Catholic Church was the main supreme authority of that era, and all arts, sciences, and philosophical learning were regarded as a servant of Christian theology. So all the thing which is related to art, science, philosophy, which is related to servant, which is regarded as a servant of the Christian theology, means everything uprising under the Christianity. Hence, medieval architecture expressed itself cathedral, while medieval art expressed itself as a Rome. And what happened in this time? They start following the cathedral rule, while medieval art expressed itself as a form of religious painting. Even the ancient author will read principally from the point of view of mastering the Latin language, so the study of philosophy which was taught in Latin. So all the ancient author were reading peacefully for the point of view mastering the Latin. So they were only reading Latin because they want to upgrade this. So they studied theology also, which was taught in Latin, which was only taught in Latin language. Scholarism was a term used to describe the attitude and the methodology which was declining the middle of the 14th century. Okay. Now the next thing we can see here, that Elisa put an end to his subservience of the arts, sciences, and philosophy. Now, beginning from the 14th century, there was an increasing tendency to study these subjects for their own sake, not merely as servant of the theology. But after 14th century, we can say from the beginning of the 14th century, it started increasing for the sake of they interesting their own self. And this led to the flowering of the art and sciences and paved the way for the modern period of the philosophy. And this is the Protestant Reformation which ended the Catholic Church dominance in North Europe. The feudal system was also collapsing during this period, partly due to the increasing number of urban dwellers and traders. So feudal system start collapsing here. Okay, and who did not fit in this land-based feudal hierarchy. So ultimately, all these changes amounted a totally new vision of human person through Renaissance humanism. Okay. The revival of art and learning was financed by the commercial revival of Europe through the rise of great banking families in Italy, particularly in Italy, in the city of the Florence during 14th century, followed by the discovery of the sea route of India and America toward the end of the 15th century. The Renaissance transformed medieval Europe beyond recognition. It resulted in the development of an intellectual independence that no longer took argument from authority for granted, but instead strove to explore the discovery of poetry and philosophy, science, and technology. Now, since it took Europe to the threshold of the Age of Reason, the period of the Renaissance was followed by the Enlightenment, during which the new attitude spotted by new discoveries gave birth to modern philosophy and science, which was characterized by their own total independence and form of theology. Now there we will see the term. The term Renaissance is a single sense, rebirth or reawakening, a narrow perspective regard. It is a movement associated with the revival of classical antiquity, which means that the ancient Greek and Roman culture were discovered through their work of the literature, philosophy and literature. Their ideas were analyzed and interpreted. Major Greek texts were restored and translated into Latin. So Latin was the main language of this era. But the Renaissance was much more than the reawakening. It affected all the aspects of European society and culture and marked the beginning of the new age of modernity. Okay. Now here we will talk about the Renaissance produced new attitude toward the culture and learning. Unlike medieval scholar who debated the nature of life after death. So they were saying that there is a life after death. Renaissance thinkers were eager to explore the richness and variety of human experience and here and now. Now at the same time there was a new emphasis on the individual achievement. Indeed, the Renaissance ideal was a person with the talent in many fields. So the Renaissance supported a spirit of adventure and wide-ranging curiosity that led people to explore new world. Columbus, who sailed to America in 1492, represented that spirit. Who did Nicholas Copernicus? Nicholas Copernicus, the scientist who revolutionized the way people viewed the universe. Vanessa writer and artist eager to experiment with new form and were also product of that adventurous spirit. While the Renaissance aroused the intellect and the aesthetic faculties, the Reformation awakened the spiritual nature and the same printing press which diffused the knowledge of the classic put the English Bible into the hand of the pupil and spread the interest of the religion and inevitably accompanied by the deepening the moral earnest. So it is a type of a thing which studies arouse the intellectuality and aesthetic faculties during the Renaissance and again the spiritual knowledge and same printing press has done because of the publishing or invention of the printing press. It was a great knowledge spread to all the classic and Bibles in the hand of the people and it is spread all over the country. Now the city of the Florence, perhaps more than any other city, came to symbolize the Italian Renaissance. Florence was home to many gifted poets, artists, architects, scholars, and scientists in a short space of time. The city of Venice, Amalfi, Bari, and Florence had spearheaded the commercial revolution which resulted in creation of a new social order based on wealth rather than birth. Feudalism could never develop a strong root in the Italy. Social and material ties between the nobility and the merchant classes created an atmosphere conducive to learning. Flooring the art, the spread of the consciousness among the populace, and above all individualism. Merchant pieces and even pops commissioned work of art. The Renaissance was urban in art and literary work, and society reinvented itself in accordance with the new socio-economic culture. So the Renaissance began in Tuscany in central Italy and central in the city of the Florence। तो ये स्टार्ट हुआ था टस्कनी नाम के प्लेस जो सेंट्रल इटली में है और ये फ्लोरेंस तक सेंटर था फ्लोरेंस में। फ्लोरेंस the Florentine Republic, one of the several city-state of the peninsula, rose to economic and political prominence by providing credit for European monarch by laying down groundwork and foundation in capitalism and banking. Renaissance culture later spread in Venice, heart of the Mediterranean Empire, and it controlled the trade routes, which is the east. Zin's participation on the Crusades and following the journey of Marco Polo between 1271 to 1295. Now the Italy renewed connected with antiquity, which provided humanist scholar with new texts. Now finally the Renaissance had a significant effect of the papal state। अगर हम बात करें तो रेनेसा का जो बहुत ही बड़ा importance था papal state में था on the Rome, largely rebelled by the humanists and Renaissance popes such as Alexander VI between 1492 to 1503 and Julius II 1503 to 1513, who is frequently became involved in Italian politics in arbitrating a dispute between the competing colonial power and opposing the Protestant Reformation, which started in 1517. Now, if we talk about the humanism, basically humanism is the attitude of the thought which gives primary importance to human being. During the Italian Renaissance, ancient workers inspired Italian scholars that gave rise to Renaissance humanism movement. Humanism referred to the nationalist outlook of system of the thought attaching the prime importance of human rather than divine or supernatural matters. So this is very important thing. What is the meaning of humanism? So humanism is the main theme of Renaissance, and what is the humanism here? So humanism refer to the rationalist outlook. Rationalist means logical outlook or system of thought attaching prime importance. Okay, the people start thinking about rationally, thinking about logically, thinking about the reason. Earlier they were thinking about divine and supernatural matter, but during the Renaissance, people start thinking logically, thinking scientifically, and because of this, they start thinking thoughtful. They become thoughtful for everything. They start asking why. Humanism was a Renaissance culture movement which turned away from the medieval Scholasticism and revived interest in ancient Greek and Roman thought. In the early 21st century, the term generally denoted focus on human well-being and advocated for human freedom, autonomy, and progress. Okay. So in the early 21st century, the term gradually grew to focus on human well-being. Okay, the humanism is related to human well-being and advocates of human freedom, autonomy, and progress. Now here we will read about the Renaissance humanism. Renaissance humanism was a revival in the study of the classical antiquity. It began in Italy and that spread across Western Europe in 14th, 15th, and 16th century. Now, during this period, the term humanist referred to teachers and students who had mastered the 5 subjects known as the humanists. These subjects were grammar, rhetoric, history, poetry, and moral philosophy. During the Renaissance period, most humanists were Christians, so their concern was purify and renew Christianity. Their vision was return to the simplicity of the New Testament and bypassing the complexity of the medieval theology. The here Renaissance humanism began in Italy with the rediscovery of certain ancient manuscripts of the classical Latin literature. Later, with the fall of the Constantinople of 1553, a number of Greek scholars immigrated to Italy, bringing their precious manuscripts with them. Hence, the study of the Greek language and literature became more widespread than before. The writing of Plato and other early philosophers were read to new light. All these had a direct impact on society in the field of letter, writing, literature, art, architecture, philosophy, religion, and science. Further, a positive attitude emerged with the led scholar to study these subjects for their own sake, not a prelude to study of the theology. Now here Renaissance art reflected humanist concern, like artists of the Middle Ages. Renaissance artists portrayed religious figures such as Mary, Jesus, and the saint. However, they often set these figures against Greek Roman background. Painter also produced portrait of well-being figure of the day, reflecting the humanist interest in individual achievement. The Renaissance artists learn the rules of the perspective by making distant objects smaller than those close to the viewer. Artists could paint scenes and they appear dimensional. They also use shading to make an object look round and real. And Renaissance artists studied human anatomy and to form their live model. This made it possible for them to portray the human body more accurately than the manual artists had done. Okay, here we will read about the Renaissance artists, and that is very important. Now, if we talk about the Renaissance artists, so here we will read about the first artist whose name is Leonardo da Vinci. Leonardo da Vinci was Italian painter, sculptor, and architect, and he was born in 15 April 1452, and in Tuscan's hill town of the Vinci, 20 miles from the Florence. His most popular painting was the Mona Lisa. So, as I told you earlier, that Mona Lisa was a great painting of Leonardo da Vinci, who was born in 15 April 1452 in Tuscany. Okay, or his main popular painting was Mona Lisa. The term Renaissance man first recorded in written English in early 20th century. It used to refer the great thinker living therefore during after the Renaissance period. Leonardo da Vinci was often being described as the archetype of the Renaissance man. And the next person we can see here, Michelangelo. So here Michelangelo was an Italian sculptor, painter, architect, and the poet of the High Renaissance. He was born in the Republic of the Florence, and he shaped stone into the masterpieces like Pieta, 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 which captures the sorrow of Mary as she cradled the dead Christ on her knees. Okay. He also sculpted David, a statue of a biblical shepherd who killed the giant Goliath. Goliath. His work had lasting influence on Western art, and his important work are Pieta 1498 to 1499, David 1501 to 1504, Sistine Chapel ceiling 1508 to 1512, Moses 1513 to 1550, and the Last Judgment, which was came in 1536 to 1541. The third one is Raffaello Sanzio da Urbino. Raffaello Sanzio da Urbino, which came in 1483 to 1520, was an Italian painter, architect of the High Renaissance, and he is better known for Raphael. His important works are Raphael Rooms, Sistine Madonna, the School of Athens, and the Transfiguration. Transfiguration. The architect of the Renaissance went back to the classical Greek temple and Roman building for their models. Churches were increasingly built with a dome roof rather than vault. So it will very important. The construction of the St. Peter Basilica in Rome was 1560 to 1667 can be said to be the one of the highlight of this period, and the dome of the church designed by the Michelangelo was modeled on the ancient Roman Pantheon. The secularization of the architecture also took place during this period. Henceforth, there were many rich noblemen and princes who could afford to build a palace for themselves, and elaborate building began spreading thoughtful Italy. A large number of country wall houses in France was built during this period. Now the sculptures and the painting also began to look to ancient model which were regarded as a more natural and lifetime than the medieval art. Rather than Polo convention, the artist study and human body for the attained the better sense of the proportion. A sense of the perspective was also achieved by the painting distant objects smaller than nearby ones. Italian painting generally remained religious in nature. Ralph Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci were famous for their paintings. Now here the art of the music was also began to flourish during the Renaissance period. The new instruments were invented and the harmony was increasingly used. Although most music as an art or form was still composed either for the court for the religious purpose, and music composed during this period remain an integral part of the European culture today. Now, if we talk about the Renaissance authors and thinkers, so Petrarca, Francisco Petrarca, who was born in 1304 to 1374, had been describing the first uh, great humanist and the first modern scholar. He was born in Italy near Florence, and Petrarch's sonnet were admired and imitated throughout the Europe during the Renaissance and became a model for lyrical poetry. He is also known for being the first to develop the concept of dark age. So, who was a person? Francisco Petrarca. On 8 April 1341, he became the second poet laureate of the Padua, Italy. So, who was the second poet laureate? He is Francisco. He rightly described himself as a standing between two eras. In many ways, attitude the Renaissance were first seen in his writing. Next is Giovanni Boccaccio, who was the second one, who was also a great author of this era, 1333 to 1375, was an Italian writer, poet, correspondent of the Petrarch, and he is also an important Renaissance humanist. And Boccaccio was born in Catadolo, Republic of the Florence, Italy. His most notable works are Decameron. So Boccaccio probably planned the Decameron after the epidemic of 1348 and completed it by 1353. And the Decameron is a collection of short stories. So many times, it is also the source of great work of Shakespeare. So Decameron is a collection of short stories. It contained 100 tales told by the group of 7 young women and 3 young men. And these plays shelter in schedule Vaila just outside Florence in order to escape the Black Death, which was afflicting the city. The amid of all mysteries, 10 young people meet in the church and decide their future. First to arrive are 7 young women, Pampiana, Fiametta, Philomena, Emilia, Loretta, Tifili, and Elisa. After attending the service, the women discusses the perils of their time. Now here Pampiana proposes that they all move together to the country to wait out the plague, and the other ladies applaud the idea. 3 young men enter the church, in which in whom Panfilo, Pilastrato, and Diono. All three were in love with the relative women in the group, and Pipiana asked the man to retreat the country with them in the spirit of the comradeship. The men agreed with their behavior will be refined and chastity. So this is the story of the Decameron. So here the Mulebris Clarice. G. Mularibus Clarice is a famous woman is a collection of biography of historical and mythological women. So it is a book which means famous women is a collection of biographies. Okay. Or next right here we can see Dante Alighieri. Dante Alighieri we know very well. So, who was born in 1265 to and died in 1321. So, he was an Italian poet, writer, philosopher. He is often referred to the Dante. He is the most important work in the narrative poem Divine Comedy or Commedia. It is a widely considered as one of the most important poems of the Middle Age and the greatest literary work in the Italian language. Dante began working on his poem in 1308 and composed around 1321, shortly before his death. The poem Divine Commedia, comedy consists of 100 cantos. So, how many cantos are there? There are 100 cantos in it, and we can see that which are grouped together into three sections or centicles: Inferno, Purgatorio, and Paradiso. So here, first is Inferno, Purgatorio, and the Paradiso. Technically, there are 33 cantos in each centicle, and one traditional canto contained the Inferno, which serves as the introduction of the entire poem. And the poem rhyme scheme is the Tajarima, ABA, BCB, CDC, and ETC extra. The story traces the journey of the Dante from the darkness and the era of the revelation of the divine light, culminating in the beatific vision of God. So here we will talk about the Dante and takes ultra brilliant his journey, which is lead them to the visit the soul in hell and purgatory and paradise. He has two guides, Virgil, who lead him through the inferno, and Purgatorio and the Beatrice, who introduce him to Paradiso. Through these fictional encounter taking place from the Good Friday evening in 1300 through Easter Sunday and slightly beyond, Dante's learned to the exile that is awaiting him. The action of the poem Divine Comedy began in the Good Friday of the year 1300, at which the time Dante, who was born in 1265, had reached the middle of the scriptural three scores year and 10. It ends with the first Sunday after Easter, making in all days. Now here Boccaccio, together with the Dante Alighieri and the Francesco Petrarca, is part of the so-called three counts of the Italian literature. Now again here we will read about the Balstre Castiglione. So here we will read Balstre Castiglione is a 1438 to 1529, was an Italian courtier and the prominent Renaissance author, and he is remembered for his The Book of the Courtier. It is a courtesy book that describes the conduct of the perfect courtier, the quality of the noble lady, and the ideal relationship between the courtier and his prince. The book was an immediate success. Now the next thing we will see here, Nicholas Machiavelli or Niccolo Machiavelli in 1469 to 1527 was an Italian author, philosopher and historian. His major work are The Prince, Discourse on Livy, and The Art for War. The piece was written about 1533. It was published in 1532. The book is read and instruction guide of new prince and royal. The discourses of Livy on Livy was published in 1531. It is full of advice on how to preserve republics. The Art of War is a treatise. The format of Art of the War is a Socratic dialogue. In this book, Machiavelli talks about limited warfare, that is when diplomacy pale boys extension of the politics. The book emphasizes the necessity of state militia. It promotes the concept of armed citizenry. Machiavelli believed that all society, religion, science, and art depends on the security believed by the military. So here, Machiavelli dedicated the piece to Lorenzo di Piero di Medici, 1492 to 1519, ruler of Florence from 1532, and grandson of the Lorenzo di Medici, 1449 to 492. The Machiavelli dedicate the discourse on Livy to two friends, Genovi and Monti and Cosmiano Raglia, both who represent the Machiavelli art of war. So here Desiderius Erasmus. So Desiderius Erasmus 1469 to 1536 was a Dutch humanist. He was a great scholar of the Northern Renaissance. He was the first editor of the New Testament. Now among humanists, Erasmus was given the sobriquet Prince of the Humanists and has been called the crowning glory of the Christian humanist. His important work are in the praise of holy handbook of the Christian Knight on civility in children, Julius Excluded, the education of Christian prince. In Praise of Folly, in English written in Latin in 1509, it was first printed in June 1511. It is a satirical attack on superstition, various tradition of European society on the Latin Church. Okay, so it will be very important. Who has written it? It was written by Erasmus. Okay, now here Sir Thomas More. Sir Thomas More was an English humanist. He wrote Utopia, which describe an ideal of society where man and woman live in peace and harmony. Private property does not exist in More Utopia. No one is ideal. All are educated, and justice is used to end crime rather than eliminate the criminal. Now Francisco Rabelais 1483 to 1492, 15 till 1553 was a French Renaissance writer, Renaissance humanist, monk and Greek scholar. He is primarily known as a writer of the satire or the Grostic and the body joke and song. In his five part of the novel, Gargantua and the Pantagruel, he chronicles the adventure of two gentle giants, Gargantua and his son Pantagruel. On the surface, Rabelais' book is a comic adventure of travel and war, but he uses his character to offer opinion on a wide variety of serious subjects such as education and the religion. Okay, now the next thing we will see Rabbi Lais also wrote under the pseudonym Alcobrias Nasir. Alcobrias Nasir. The word Rabelisian has been coined as a descriptive inspired by the work and life. The word refers to the style of the satirical humors characterized by the exaggerated or ghostly character and the chorus jokes. Now, next writer is Michael D. Cervantes. Michael D. Cervantes, who was born in 1547 and died in 1616, was an early modern Spanish writer. Widely regarded as the greatest writer in the Spanish language, he is the best known for entertaining the mock romantic notion of the medieval chivalry called Don Quixote. The novel follows the adventure of Don Quixote, a foolish but idyllical knight, and his faithful servant Sancho Panza. Quixote imagines himself involved in the one dangerous adventure after another. Panza tries about success to convince the knight and the castle she are really humble in and the jostling knight that you try to fight that are in fact windmills. Now here Coxto, however, is unable to understand about the modern world which requires the skill of the practical man like the Sancho Panza rather than those of the romantic and the battle-ready knight. So here Don Coxto is a Spanish epic novel. Originally it was published two part in 1605 to 1615. Its full title was The Ingenious Gentleman Don Coxto of the La Mancha. This novel often labeled as the first modern novel. So very very important. Now the next one is Nicholas of Cusa. Nicholas of Cusa, who was born in 1401 to 1464, was a German philosopher, theologian, mathematician, and the astronomer. And he is regarded as one of the first German proponent of the Renaissance humanism. He began the career by studying church law and ended the cardinal of the Catholic Church. He anticipated Copernicus by holding that the earth was not the center of the universe. He criticized the philosophy of the Aristotle, which was prevailing view by that time, and held that we can attain only the approximate knowledge of reality, which he called the conjecture. Now, Souza's study of plant growth, for which he concluded that plant absorb nourishment from the air, and was the first modern formal experiment in the biology, and the first proof the air was a weight. Air has a weight. Very important thing we should learn. Now here he is famous for De Docta Ignorita, which was came in 1440 on a learned ignorance. In this work, he described the learned man as one of aware of his own ignorance. Okay. Now the last one is Nicolaus Copernicus, who was born in 1473 and died in 1543. Was a Renaissance figure. He was active a Polish mathematician and astronomer. He proposed that the sun was stationary in the center of the universe and the earth revolved around it. He published this view, known as the heliocentric theory, in his book Revolunibus. De Revolunibus, which was printed in the year of the death 1543, and this was a daring theory because it seemed to contradict both the Bible and the Greek philosophy. And though his view took time to get established, his book marked a major milestone of the history of the science. Now here is a conclusion. The Renaissance work can be said have a begun with the discovery and translation of many ancient Roman and Greek texts, Homer's Iliad and Odyssey, which had earlier been known only through brief Latin summarizes, could now be read in full as could other ancient literature, and this led to be the revival of certain features of the classical style, which were imitated by the humanist author and poets. And the Pope shared this love for the classical literature and established the Vatican Library of 1475. The humanist scholars who were skilled in language were often employed as a secretaries of the Pope, Peace, and the noblemen of the period. Now, initially, their later work composed in Latin, but by the end of the 14th century, vernacular language were beginning to take over. Many humanists were also known as their poetry. Petrarch, an early humanist, was crowned as a poet laureate in we can say that Rome in the 8 April to 1341, and the humanists began to contribute to the spread of new ideas through their words. A Greek edition of the Bible produced by the Erasmus in 1560 revealed that Latin was to use divided on the certain places from the Greek text, which was now understood to the original. Now this led to the new religious movement, the here Novum Instrumentum Omen. So was the first published New Testament of Greek in 1516. It was prepared by the Desiderius Erasmus and printed by John Profan and de Basil. Although the first printed Greek New Testament was the Complutensian Polyglot, 1514. Erasmus was the second to be published in 1516. Now, similarly, the field of the politics, which had been changing rapidly with the decay of the feudalism, was analyzed in the Machiavelli's Prince, Thomas More Utopia, and Rabelais' Gargantua, and several other Greek Cervantes' famous Don Quixote took a humorous look at the outdated feudal system. So one of the greatest European playwrights of the ever, William Shakespeare, flourished during the later year of the Renaissance. Now, during the Middle Ages, manuscript had to be copied by hand. The arrival of the printing simplified the process of making copies of books and hence paved the way for the spread of literacy and learning. Paper had been invented by the Chinese and was introduced into Europe by the Arab and Spain. And in 1450, Johannes Gutenberg, a German design and built a printing press and printed the famous Gutenberg Bible in Latin. Now, ultimately, printing proved to be the great liberative force, spreading the light of the learning to the common man through affordable mass-produced literature, public libraries, and soon newspaper. Now this is the only thing we have read. Now next session we will read the question answer series, and that will be very important for our examination purpose. So thank you. I hope you will like this session.